Follow the channel and stay tuned for learning videos.
Okay. So whenever we are creating JavaScript on the form, we are working for our on the some form field changes, and we have seen how to update another table records, how to get the different table context, everything, right? So in today's class, we are going to see plugins. When do we use plugins? Now, if you see here, and on the JavaScript, what we did, we have created this custom button, update states inactive. Whenever we are doing this one, it is updating the respective states to inactive, right? So if you see this one, whenever you are doing this action, this is taking some time, right? So basically, how form script work means that will be part of the execution form load, right? In the form context, and it will be we are doing, right? So whenever you are doing any activity based upon the script, based upon the size of the script, based upon the logic, if you have multiple function on a single form, that will impact the form performance, that will impact the form loading time, everything. So that's why what in real projects we will do. So whatever the needed one, that only we will keep it in the form script. So the remaining we will push to plugins. So whereas JavaScript is a form script, right? Similarly, to do the same kind of operations like updating the records, pulling the other table records, modifying other table records, for every kind of calculation, every kind of business logic, we will be to do it the server side, we will be using the plugins. Okay, so if you see here, this is taking some time to run that logic, right? So if you have for a single entity, if you have suppose 20 functions are there, if you have multiple functions on the load, even if you load the form also, that will take some good amount of time. So users may feel like form is loading slowly. So to avoid that kind of feeling, so in general, the whatever the needed one, that only we will put it in the form script. Rest we will keep it in the plugins. Okay. In the plugins also, we will have same like our workflows. We will have the synchronous plugins, asynchronous plugins, means which executes direct, normally in real time, and which executes in the offline. Okay. So like that, we have to we will be using the plugins. So coming to the plugins, so on the while writing JavaScript, what we have seen, we are writing the code logic and we are binding to the event, right? When it has to exit. Similarly, for plugins also we will have the same. So whatever the logic you want to execute, that we have to define. Okay. So before that, so this is a famous diagram everyone uses to understand the plugin flow or anything. Okay. Do you see the screen?
Yes, yes.
So, so this will be called the plugin execution pipeline. So how it will execute if you have any custom plugin, everything. So same like JavaScript, what we will do here, we will write our some custom code. We need to bind it to entity. So whenever you are writing JavaScript, you are binding to entity, right? The library, class library, whether you want to put it on the country entity or whether you want to put it in the state entity. Similarly, whenever you are writing a custom C# code, that is nothing but a plugin, you have to bind it. So you will be registering a event for that entity. Then in the CRM, you have for the JavaScript, you have on load, on change, on tab, like that, right? So similarly, here also we will have the similar kind of events. Those are nothing but a pre-event, pre-create, post-create, pre-update, post-update, pre-delete, like that. So whenever you're creating a new record, you want to do anything, that will be triggered in the pre-create. After saving, then it will trigger. So do you want to, whenever you're modifying something, if you want to trigger anything, that will be in the update, pre-update, post-update. So like that, it will be defining the stages when do you want to execute the logic, everything. Okay. So if you see here, so plugin, as we are saying, it will be running at the server side, right? So server side means whenever you are creating a normal operation, for that also it will have a flow. So what is that flow? Core operation. So whenever you are creating a new record, CRM has to create a record in the server side as well, right? That will be the core operation. So if you see here, before that core operation, you can register an event, pre-event. Like after that also you can create an event, post-event. So for a single create operation, you can have pre-create, post-create. Similarly, for update event, you can have pre-update, post-update. For delete also, you can have pre-delete, post-delete, like that. So like that, it will it will work and it will execute in the normal order. Now if you see here, web service is nothing but a, whenever we are doing from UI, so when you do create operation, it will hit in the event execution pipeline. So in this event execution pipeline, before core operation, if you have any event, if you have any plugin for the before creation, so it will execute that logic. Then it will execute the core operation. Core operation means it will save the record. So once it is saving record, a record will be created in the database. So after that, if you have any post event for that create, it will do that post event. Then it will go to finished. So here we have async agent, right? So the plugins which are in the async state, those will become here. Okay. So whatever it is there in the synchronous mode, that will be executed within the execution pipeline, and whatever it's there in the async mode, that will come to the async agent. It will enter after 2-3 seconds. It won't take much time, but like that. Now if you see here, whatever the coloring grid, if you see plugin library, you have this platform components meant custom server out of the box things. And if you see the plugin 3, that is like a custom component, whatever we code. So like that it will work. If we go down also here, we will have the pipeline stages, pre-event stages, pre-validation stage, pre-operation stage, main operation, post-operation, like that. Okay, for each operation, again you will have a create pre-validation, create pre-operation, create post-operation. The platform core operation is nothing but a main operation. Okay, so the one advantage with plugins is like you can have the images, pre-images, post-images. What do you mean by pre-image, post-image means? Basically, whenever you're working, right? So whenever you're creating a record, first, if you are doing for the first time, you don't have any data in the information. But whenever you are modifying the existing record, you want to know what is there in the server already and what you are marking the changes, what you are making the changes, right? So that we will know with the pre-images and post-images. Okay. Now if you see here, pre-images like a basically snapshot of the identity attribute after the core operation. Pre-images snapshot of the entity before the core operation. So suppose I am doing update. Let's take this example. So I'm doing Brazil 1 update. So in the server, basically before whenever doing the save, you will have the snapshot means you will have the entire attributes information before making the changes. So if you get the pre-image, it will have the Brazil, it will have the South America, it will have South America, everything. If you get the post image, you will have the Brazil one, whatever the modified one. So like that, in the plugin code, you can get the pre-image means the values before you modified, the values after you modified. Like that, we can get it. So that is the one big advantage with the plugins. So if you want to do any calculations like difference before and after, if you want to do any kind of that operation, we will be using this pre-image, post-image. Okay. Any questions so far? Okay. Now, similar to plugin, so similar to JavaScript. In the JavaScript, we haven't used any ID, integrated development environment, to develop anything, right? But for plugin to write a C# code, we have to we have to write a code. We have to put the code in our local Visual Studio, and we have to build it. So for that purpose, what we will do, we will be using this latest Visual Studio version IDE. So if you normally search in the Visual Studio from this browser, you will get the Microsoft one. You can download the latest free download. Whenever you are downloading, it will ask what is the version you want to use, everything. Okay. So if you see here, like that, it will ask. So once you installed, we have to choose the version, everything. So it's already installed. So for me, Visual Studio Community 2026 is already installed. So whenever you are doing for the first time, it will ask to choose what is the version you need, everything. Okay. So as for my need, I'm just keeping the .NET development, Azure AI development, .NET desktop development. So whatever I need, these are kind of a libraries you needed for it. Okay, so you have to choose these libraries if you want anything Microsoft 360 development. If you want any such, you have to choose whatever you need. In general, for the CRM point of view, we will be using this ASP.NET, Azure, and this Visual Studio extensions. These are the minimal. So now if you see here, once you selected, you have to do the installation. So you can choose install while downloading or install whatever you need. So if you do, this will take some time to install everything. So in this Visual Studio install, I have installed the SQL Server Management Studio. I have installed the Visual Studio 2020 version. I have installed the Visual Studio 2026 version. Like that, I have too many apps. So from single Visual Studio installer, you can have anything. Okay. So once you have Visual Studio, let's assume I have installed it, everything is completed. Then you have to click on this launch. Okay, it will open. So if you go now, see, I have Visual Studio, right? So here I am choosing the Visual Studio. So as I'm installing already, it won't allow. I will just cancel this. I have to cancel, I think. So this is cancelled. Now I will be launch Visual Studio Community. Setup post. Remove. I'm just removed it. Now I can open the already installed one. Okay. So these are my available projects in my local. So for the first time, you have to create a new project. So to develop a plugin, we will be using always class libraries. Okay. So you have to choose the project template here. So here you have the different, right? So you have to choose this class library.NET framework. So whatever the project you develop, whatever you do, if you are doing plugin development, you have to choose this class library. So in this class library only, we will have the code. I'm just selecting this, clicking on the next. So it will ask where is my location, everything. So I will just giving like my plugin practice something. So this is my local location where my plugin is saving. And always we have to choose .NET 4.7.2, which is supported and recommended version. It shouldn't be 4.8 or more. Okay, just choosing it. Now if you see, this is the typical, what do you call? This is the typical plugin class library. So it doesn't have anything. It has just namespace. It has just class. So now let's go back to our agent, any agent, ChatGPT. So so what I want to do, whatever we are doing in the JavaScript, deactivating countries, right? So for that one, I will create one more flag, deactivate states. Okay, like that I will create one more flag. On that flag, I want to trigger the same logic assume. Okay. So for that one, what I'm saying, instead of share me the same code with plugin whenever user update deactivate flag on the country. So I haven't created the deactivate flag. I will create meanwhile. So how do I create? I have to go to customizations, everything, right? So I will be going to solutions. It will be launched in. It will launch in Maker portal. I will be going to my existing solution. So this is my existing solution, right? So within the existing one, I have to create new field and I have to place it to talk you to trigger the plugin. So plugin will be triggering whenever you do some operation only, right? So for that purpose, I'm using the that flag. Okay. So in the country column, I'm creating a new column that is Boolean flag. Deactivate data type choice. Sorry, it has to be Boolean. Yes, no, right? Yes, no. Default will be no. So once I created, what I have to do to reflect in the form, I have to add it to the form, right? So I'm going to the main form. So deactivate the states related is there. So I'm adding here in the bottom. You can add anywhere. I'm just doing save and publish. So if you go to ChatGPT, plugin is a better approach than JavaScript because it runs on the server side work regardless how the country is updated form input everything. So country, state, look upon state, deactivate flag. So this is the, but we created some other, we will get some other schema because we created our own. So update. So if it is saying plugin decision also it is saying when should register. So it should be on the update record. Primary and should be the country. Stage is post operation. Mode is synchronous. Filtering attributes is deactivate. So all this we will be doing. So it is given the C# code as well. Okay. So just copy this code, put it better version using state recursion. So see for single request it is giving two three things. So you have to decide which one you need. What is the best thing for you. So now when you did the copy paste, that's fine, but you are getting too many errors. So you have how to solve it. Okay. Okay, let me complete this. It is done. I will just do a refresh. Not yet reflected. So I will be using developer tools empty cache hard reload. Not yet. So what I will do, I will publish entire solution to make it publish. So to work with, you know some basics, C sharp basics. Otherwise, you can't. So what it is giving the namespace is not understood. So you need to. Are you missing a assembly or assembly using directory or assembly numbers? Here is getting error. So you should understand. You should have a basic knowledge with C sharp. What is what everything. Then only you can make it. Okay. Plugin related C sharp basics. We have in our YouTube channel. You can check that. Okay. So coming to the errors, let me refresh you. I'm getting now. If you see deactivate the shits is coming. So what I want to whenever I keep S, whenever I'm saying I want to trigger my logic. As of now, we haven't did anything. I just created a form. I created the flag. I just kept it in the form. Now what I want to do whenever I'm keeping S, clicking on the save, it has to delete the respective deactivated. Okay. So for that purpose, I'm just trying to wrote this plugin. Okay, now you are getting a some error. So how to sort it? So whatever you are using in this place, these we will call as the assembly references. Okay. So if you see to work with CRM directly, you won't get any connection, right? So this is typically the C sharp code. The C sharp code can work for anything. To work with CRM, you have to connect. You have to import the this CRM related assign using directives. So for that purpose, go to this your project wherever you have this assembly. Okay, go there, click on the right side. If you see you have manage NuGet packages. If you click on this, you will here you will have the whatever's installed. What and you will have browse search for it. Okay, when you search for it, you will get that this Microsoft CRM SDK core assemblies, XRM tooling assembly, SDK workflow. Install the core assemblies for the plugins. Okay, so it will open this output. It will ask for your consent. You have to do everything. Okay, it is done. So if you go back to the see now you have errors gone because all are related to XRM SDK assembly directive. So you got the you are you lost every error. So in sometimes whenever you're doing copy paste code, you will be getting some other errors also. You have to make sure you have the respective DL, respective assembly added or everything like that. Now, if you see in the references earlier, we don't have the we shouldn't have the XRM SDK. As we installed using NuGet packages, you will be getting this XRM SDK. So whatever you have system, right? These are the default added by the our plugin assembly. So now this is ready to use. So what we need to do for installing to the CRM. So now you just build the code, same like JavaScript library. Whatever you got it from the ChatGPT, you put it in the JavaScript library. Here also, you just put it in the class library. Now to attach to the CRM, we have what we did. We are going to the respective form onload. We are adding the onload event on change event, right? So here also to attach to the event, we have to build this class library. Okay, so once the class library is built, it will generate a DLL file. If you see under my path, it is my plugin practice, my practice, my practice, debug. It is giving a DLL. So basically in the DLL, entire code will be converted and it will be stored in the binary format. Okay. So we have to attach this DLL to the CRM. So for attaching events to the CRM, for registering this assembly to the CRM, what we will be using, we will be using the plugin registration tool. Okay. So for that purpose, we have my plugin registration. Here I have already installed the tool. So this is my plugin registration tool. Okay. So I want to connect to my credentials, right? I have to use my credentials. So I'll get my DevC on Microsoft. That is my account, which I'm going to use. So you have to give approval. So here you have to just choose the environment for which environment you want to register. So mine is LUT demo. Selecting. So once you select this, it will load the all the plugins which are available from the product, like out of the box plugins. Now we are creating a custom plugin, right? So whatever we are doing manual means whatever adding extra, that will be like a custom plugin, right? So by default you will be having all these out of the box plugins. On top of it you will be adding. Let it load. So it is loading the messages, everything. So while coming it, so if you see here, this is my path, right, where my project is there. If you go, you can, if you go click on this one, open folder explorer, open in file explorer, it will show in your local, it is having this class file, it will be have the it is a project CS project file, and the bin means the DLLs, whatever it is generated. So it is having all the all the needed DLL. If you see, you have the Microsoft CRM SDK proxy DLL, you have my plugin practice DLL. So you will be attaching my plugin practice only. You will have the system, everything. So whatever the DLL you are using it for the plugin, this development, everything will be available in this debug. So similarly, whatever packages you are installing, right? So those will be available in the package config. Okay. So here it will have the complete information. What are the NuGets are the packages you have installed. Okay. CRM SDK we have installed, which version, what's the target framework, and what is this, everything. So it will hold this information. Okay. So similarly, if you go back further in the packages also, you will have the what are the packages installed. So these are, so by seeing all this, you can get to know what are installed packages for the existing project. Is it missing anything? Do you need to re-add? Like that, you can refer. So now if you see, these are the plugin registration tool. This is connected to the LU2 demo environment. So these are the assemblies which are already there. These are nothing but out of the box. Now what I want to do, I want to create a custom plugin, my own plugin. So here you have register. So whatever you developed here to link it this to the CRM, first you have to register this assembly. So click on the register a new assembly. So here it will ask the where is your plugin DLL path. Okay. So I will be giving my this folder path, whatever we are using. We have to attach the DLL, right? So you have to give the bin path always. So I am copying this path, put it in here. So my plugin practice DLL. This is generated 744. So this is the latest I can consider. I can okay. So it is register new assembly. You have to select this and you have to specify the isolation mode. For every online CRM environment, this will be sandbox only. So you don't need to change anything. And you will be selecting everything. Register assembly containing plugins must be strongly signed. So why do we need strongly sign? Why do we need signing? Because so this code, whatever you have, this is a generic code and this is a AI given code. So anyone can get this code, right? So to authenticate yourself, who created this plugin, they should only update. They should only know the changes, right? Suppose if something is hacked, if they have the same code, they want to have reached some dirty logic here. So it shouldn't allow the unauthorized, right? So for that purpose, for each plugin assembly, we have to do the signing. So if you go to properties from this right click, you will be having signing. You have to click in on the signing. Okay, just create a new file like my first plugin. Or you can give any name. You are just I'm selecting it, creating, save. Now, as you did the signing change, you have to rebuild it. It will give the new DLL again. I will check. Okay, so I will do here again. Plugin day 751 means earlier it was 744, now it's 750 means it is updated. So I can consider this. I'm selecting the same register now. So earlier it was giving error. The plugin assembly version is not supported. Rebuild this assembly using .NET framework. So if you use any higher version while creating the assembly also, that won't support. We have discussed, right? So what it is saying, plugin assembly has to be 4.7 or less. So how to change the assembly versions? So if you go to this assembly, here you will have the application, right? So here we will be having the versions. What is the version you are going to use it for this class library, everything. So you can keep whatever the recommended at that time. So now I just switch it to my plugin practice to 4.7.1. I'm just cleaning the. So what will happen whenever you do cleaning? The DLLs, whatever is there, it will be gone. So if you see earlier, you have all the files. As you cleaned it, everything will be erased. Once you build it again, it will come. If you go here, see everything is re-added. Now, now I will try it again. This is the same one, so I have to change anything. Registered selected plugins. Now assembly will be registered. So it is kind of a added only assembly. So what else left? You have to register your event as well, right? When on which entity it has to trigger. So this assembly can contains 100 plugins. So you don't know, right, which plugin is referring which action, everything. So for every C sharp file, it will have you can have multiple the CS files, C sharp files. So you can have 100 plugins also, but you have to bind it, right, for whatever the code we have, for which entity it has to trigger, on which stage it has to trigger. Is it trigger on the event stage? Is it trigger on the update stage? Everything. So we have to given that. Okay. So where is my plugin? So find it. So it will be there with your namespace usually. So what is my namespace? If you go here, my plugin practice, right? This is assembly name. So you have to search with my plugin practice. So it might be under Microsoft mostly. My practice plugins were. So this is the plugin, but you don't have any steps right now. So for that one, first you have created register new assembly, right? Now what you have to do, you have to click on register new step. So here you will be mentioning the what is the event. Message means nothing but an event. When should it trigger? Create or update. So update. So when it is on what entity it has to trigger. So what is my entity? LUT country, right? So I have to select that. Secondary entity, we will be choosing none for all CRUD operations. We will be using this for associated dissociated messages. Okay. Filtering attributes when it has to trigger. So we don't want to trigger for all fields, right? So I want to trigger for only deactivated states flag. So you have to keep this. Now this is the event loader. So running user plugin context. So whoever is triggering this deactivate user update, do you want to run with the same user context or do you want to run with the some service account? So this we will be deciding with the running user context. Suppose if we have execution order, you are mentioning we have one. Suppose if we have two, three plugins on the same entity with the same message, everything same. So that time we will be using execution order one or two, three. So whatever is specified the order, it will execute. Okay. Now, if you see in the event pipeline stages, you have the stages: pre-validation stage, pre-operation stage, post-operation stage. So basically, pre-validate. What do you mean by pre-validate? So this will be using before the triggering the operation itself, before even creating the server operation itself. Whereas pre-operation hits in the within the server operation. Okay. So whatever happens in the server operations, if you anything went wrong, that will be rolled back. Means that all changes happened during that transaction, that will be rolled back. But whenever you are using pre-validation, so if you whatever you do, that will you can't roll back. Okay. So we will find a good examples in Google or anywhere, you can just go through it. So for me, I'm just choosing pre-operation. And the execution mode, do you want to execute synchronously or synchronous? I want synchronous. I'm just keeping synchronous. Register new step. Now I just have the plugin, I just have the event. It's ready to test, right? So what I will do, I will make the changes to my record. I will try to see what is happening. So no, I'm just clicking on the no. So you have to see the code now. What is happening when you are selecting no? So if you see here, code will whenever you hit the event. So this code starts from this execute. So whatever you write in this execute, code will be executing from here. Okay. So in the JavaScript, you have the form context, right? Similarly, you will have the plugin execution context. So this will give you the complete server side info for that record, for that action, whatever you are doing. So here you will have the service provider. From the service provider, you will get the plugin execution context. Similar to execution, from the execution context, you will get the form context, right? So similarly, we'll be getting the plugin context from the service provider, get service. Okay. Then you are getting the service factory. So in the service factory, you will be getting the service. So this is basically to connect to CRM. This is the CRM SDK. So to connect to CRM to make any operations, so you have to use this I organization service only. Okay. Now if you see context dot input parameters contains it, that this is means doesn't, not operation. So contents means not contents, it will be written. It will execute the stop. Now target local name. So this is from where we are getting the target, from the context we are triggering on the country entity, right? So like this we can assess, so is that triggered entity right or not. So target contents deactivate flag. Suppose if you don't modify the deactivate flag, it will return. Also if you see, they are fetching the deactivate flag. If deactivate flag is no, boolean yes no, right? No, No not means yes. So it will come here. It came here and it did nothing. Okay. Now I will switch to yes. I will do. What will happen? So again it will execute entire code. So this time it won't come return. It will skip it because yes not means false, right? So false means it won't execute the code here. So we did one mistake. So what is that mistake? We haven't used the our schema name for this field. We have used whatever this one is giving. Okay, let's see now what is happening. As this field doesn't contain, always it won't do any action. Okay, let's try it. Okay, you just made it as saved. Still nothing happened because so in the plugin execution it will try to look for this field, but this is not there in our entity itself, so it never execute. So it will always skip it. So to correct that, what we will do, we have to give the right schema for our field wherever we have every place. Current document, all places. So it changed. Okay. Now what I will do for the Brazil, I will create one country, one state. I don't know what's there in the Brazil, so I just create a Brazil state one. So save. So what I did the code changes. So whenever you are modifying anything, you have to register your this DLL again to the plugin registration because you modified something to link it with CRM. Always the new changes to the CRM, you have to always build it. You have to update the existing assembly. Okay, how do you update? If you go here, you will be having right click. You will have update on this assembly. Update it. Where is my plugin? My plugin practice. Update selected. You have to choose for which assembly you want to update. Its update is happened. So what will happen now? Whenever I choose no, this will skip because this flag is for this we didn't write any logic. Now if I choose yes, click on save. This is done without errors. So if you go here, go to states, you just created one state, still it is inactivated. Why? Because you have the logic. So here you are fetching the country ID from the current target context. Then you are doing the retrieve multiple. In the JavaScript also we did the same activity, right? Service.retrieve xrm.web API retrieve multiple. So similarly we will be doing this service.retrieve multiple. So in the query expression is nothing but what you want to pass, what entity you want to retrieve, what columns you need, what is the conditional operator, everything you will be keeping in the query expressions. So if you see here you are giving retrieve multiple. Once you got the child states, whatever it is linked to the current country record, you are doing an update call. You are marking the status to inactive. Then you are doing one more call to update service update. So this is how we will be doing. Okay. So suppose you want to, so while doing you are getting some issue, you want to debug it, right? So same like JavaScript, we can also do the debugging. So for that purpose, what you have to do, you have to install the profiler for this environment. So by default, it won't be available. You have to install the profiler to debug the plugin. So it will take some time. So meanwhile, same like in the plugin JavaScript, we are checking the line by line with the console, right? What is there, what is happening. So to check the JavaScript plugins code execution, we will have one entity plugin trace log. Okay. So if you go to this Power Platform environment settings, if you go to administration, if you go to this general, you will be having one setting actually, plugin trace logs, where it is. Enable logging in plugin trace log. So if you keep all whatever you log in the plugin, that will be available in the CR as a CRM record here. Okay. So I am just enabling this one. Also I installed the profiling. Let's try everything. So right now if you see in this code, it doesn't have any plugin trace log on trace log part. Okay. So I'm just dumping this to ChatGPT and I will ask to add the trace log. Add trace log wherever required. So now if you see, it is added one more, it is getting one more tracing service context. So like this tracing service target not found in parameters. Entities entity is not a LUT country. Like that it is adding the traces. So without coming to code also within CRM also you can see it. Okay. I'm just copy and pasting this code again. So you did modification to your code. What you have to do, you have to update it, right? So again you have to build the your plugin. It will be generated a new updated DLL. Okay. This will take for the first time it will take some time, but install successfully. So what I have to do first, I have to update my plugin, right? Load assembly. So always try to check the latest timestamp. So once you build it, it should have the latest timestamp. So update selected plugins. Done. Now, now you do the same operation for another entity, another record. I mean, so let's go to India. Let's make it yes and save it. So it executed, but you don't know what happened. So in such scenarios, you can come to the plugin trace logs in this environment, power platform environment settings. Here you have plugin trace log, right? You can come here. No, it's not loading. Advanced settings. So if it's not opening, you can do it from directly from here in this funnel advanced find. So what is my entity? Plugin trace log. I think this activity is not yet completed. So for the first time, this takes some installing profiler and this will take some time. So we have to bear it. So once you installed, every time you don't need to spend this much time. Okay, let it configure. Plugins trace logs. So if you see, if you click on these plugins, it will display what are the plugins you have it. So for everything in the CRM, you will be having a table that will be stored in the table only. Even for whatever you did in the configuration, whatever you do, everything. So for everything, you will be having a table. Like, see, I have selected plugin table. So if it loads also, what will happen? It will have a backend one table. So from here also you can choose. If you know the schema name, you can also open, navigate, open list. It will open. For similarly, you will plugin trace log also you will have an entity. I will just update it. See, rise of now I have 0 logs because it's not enablement is not completed. I will just do refresh, go to customizations. It's still in off state only. It's done. Now, if you do the operation again, yes to no, no to yes, what will happen? You should have a record side. It's not it. I will make it yes. That will it will take 1 2 minutes to reflect. We did 2 operation. Let's try to refresh. See now if you see level up plugins deactivate both 2 times trigger. We did it for two. One is for yes, one is for no, right? If you open this one, you will have the what when it is create system created, what is the event, what is the country it is triggered, what is the operation type, plugin step ID, core region ID, everything you can see. What is the mode? Is it in synchronous mode executing, asynchronous mode executing? If you come here, you have this plugin started. So whatever you keep in the trace log service, trace everything will be captured here. So without debugging also you can find the where it is failing everything. Deactivate flag value false, exiting plugin. So if you want to check the another one, you can simply use this. If you see plugin started, deactivate value true, country ID, retrieving related state records, total states retrieved, deactivating stage, deactivating. So like this. So from here you can see end to end what is happening in the code. If you write the tracing service, you can identify what is in which line it is executing, what is it executed, where it is stopped. If you get any exceptions also, we can be seeing. So if you, whenever you got exception, you are using try catch, right? So this error occurred in the so and so plugin. So you can see that it will give the stack trace, you will give you the error everything. Okay. Now coming back to debugging. So what I said, same like JavaScript, you can also debug the plugin, right? So for that only we install the profiler. So once you install what you have to do, you have to do the start profiling. So while debugging, we will have two options. One is persist to entity, the other one is exception. So whenever you choose exception, you will get an error file. You have to use that error file for the debugging. If you don't choose error, if you don't want to debug with error file, you will be choosing persist to entity like that. Okay. Now I'm just choosing persist to entity for time being. Clicking on OK. Now what I will do, I will do the this is in profiling state. Now I will do the same operation to debug the my code. So I'm choosing no. So what is happening as you did the whatever the required event trigger, you did it right. So it will trigger it. So to debug it, you have to click on this debug mode. So you have to choose the profile location. So this is the one which I triggered right just now. So whenever you choose persistent entity, you have to choose the profiler from here, the exception, the type event from here. You just choose it. So assembly, what is my assembly location? My plugin practice, right? You have to give the assembly path. So to execute start execution, we have to link this plugin registration tool and Visual Studio, right? For that, we will be using the attach to process. Okay, debug attach to process. So for which for Visual Studio, we want to attach it to our plugin registration, right? Just look with P. You will have this plugin registration. So just attach it. Okay, now it is attached. So same like JavaScript, to debug it, what we have to keep, we have to keep the breakpoint like this. Okay, now go back, click on start execution. So the control came here. Now here again you will be using the same operation, line by line. How do you want to execute? So you can see the values, what is coming in each thing. Okay, so what is everything you can check it. Tracing service. What is the target? So if you hover on this, if you hover like this, you will see the target information. So what is the attribute? What is the entity state? What is the entity? Everything. Okay. Like that, you can check the every line whether it is coming as per expected. Do you feel anything wrong? Then you have to change the logic accordingly like that. So in our scenario, we don't have any issues, right? So everything will be executed. But whenever you are writing the code manually on your own, you may write some logical mistakes or some syntaxical, right? So those will be syntax issues anyway. You will find while building the plugin. But whatever the logical thing, everything that will you know, right, unless you execute it. So you can debug the plugin code and you can test your logic whatever it is executed as per expectation or not. So like that you will be doing debugging. So deactivate plugin finished. So once it is done, it will go again. You can, if you want to restart again, you have to restart it. So whatever it is executed here, also you will have the plugin trace log, say whatever it's there in the trace entity. So like that it will trigger. Okay, so this is one kind of execution. So what is another kind of execution? Exception I said, right? So for that again you have to start uninstall profile, stop profiling. You have to try with exception now. So the difference between exception and persistent array, because exception you will get a error on the CRM form whenever you are doing the operation. You are getting a exception. If you see earlier we didn't get anything error even though we are profiling. Now if you do the same thing, so download profile, so like this you will be getting. So you have to log this file. So you have to use this file, everything. Okay. So while debugging profile location, so earlier we have selected from down arrow, right? But what will be when you choose exception, you have to select this downloaded file, error details file, assembly location. So what is my assembly location? Yeah, this is the assembly location is in the debug folder, right? So you have to keep it search for it. My plugin practice DLL start execution. Already profile is everything is attached, so you can just click on the execution. Now control came again. Now you can do the same. So plugin debug is important to troubleshooting whenever you have whatever you have written. Also in the interviewer also they will ask the steps. How do you debug a plugin? What are the steps setup you need for plugin? So you need to tell everything what we did. Okay. So if you want to execute everything, you can just click on continue. It will hit until the next breakpoint. As we don't have any next breakpoint, it will complete the code execution. So like that we will see. So this is some basic plugin, basic assembly registration, basic debugging, everything we see. Tomorrow we will deep dive into the other events, whatever we have, pre-event, post-event, everything, right? Pre-image, post-image. That's concept we will see tomorrow.